Good day everyone, welcome to Medillery design lecture for the month of December. I hope you are all enjoying your Christmas holiday. It's a great honor for me to be here today to share with you. I really appreciate the sponsor, Medillery.com, a #1 website where designers make designs for free and earn monthly. The cost of hiring professionals that delivers world standard design is high, but amazingly, Medillery.com has gathered professionals around the world that are ready to design for you freely. All you just need to do is to sign up and start assigning tasks to professionals. You can make your professional logo, event flyer, social media banner, and book covers on Medillery. You can also have access to different templates that you can use to customize your own flyer. Once again, you are welcome to this month's lecture. My name is Olaolu Moronkola. Today, I will be taking you through the topic understanding blend modes in Adobe Photoshop. In this lecture, I will introduce to you the blend modes and how they are categorized, then explain briefly the effects. I will also do some practical application of the popular ones I use. And by the end of this lecture, you should have a strong understanding of how blend modes work and which one to use to get your desired effect while designing flyers in Adobe Photoshop. Now, let's get started. What are blend modes? Blend modes are a set of options available in graphics design tools that blend pixels of one layer onto another to create a unique and non-destructive effect on the image. The process of blending of layers is facilitated by the algorithm of the blending mode that is selected. Blend modes influence the way layers interact. Different blend modes produce various results. They are very useful in photo compositing, photo manipulation, collage design, flyer design, pattern and abstract design, and so on like that. They make it easy for you to create that wow effect with your layers. From the definition, the blending is applicable and the effect will be seen when you have one layer on top another layer. We can say it blends the color of top layer with the corresponding layer right below. It blends color based on hue value, saturation, and luminance. Blend modes make a flat graphic more engaging. The graphic design tool I'll be using for this lecture is Photoshop. Now let's open our Photoshop. I am using Photoshop 2021, which I've already opened here. So in Photoshop, blend mode can be located on the top of the layers panel. Here you can follow my mouse. This is the layers panel, and if your window is not displaying the layers panel, you can simply call the layer panel out by going to window and check mark the layers here, or by simply press F7. You can see the shortcut key here. The panel is usually on the right hand side, as you can see here, and the section for the blend mode is on the upper left corner of the layers panel, showing normal as a default mode for all layers. When you click on it all the blend modes will display in a drop down menu. Then you can select anyone you want to apply. Blend mode can be applied to any item in the layers panel, including text layers, shapes, images, layer adjustment layer, and even groups. Blend mode can also be found in other areas of Photoshop, such as blending option when you right click on a layer here, but we are not going to touch that area today. And also when you select the brush tool on the toolbox here, there is drop down menu for blend mode as well around here. But for this tutorial, we shall limit our focus on the layers panel today. In order to use blend mode, as said earlier, you need to have a document with at least 2 layers. These layers can be referred to as base layer. Let's use this one as an example. This one label layer 2 can be referred to as the blend layer. This is the layer that bears the blend mode, and this other layer below it, which is labeled as layer 1 copy, can be referred to as the base layer. This is the layer that's directly below the blend layer, and it is the mixing of these 2 layers that will give us a non-destructive resulting color. Now let's go on to see how the blend modes are categorized. Categories of blend mode. Blend mode is grouped into 6 categories. I will only touch what each category does generally because of our time. I won't go further to explain what each blend mode does and the algorithm and mathematical calculations that goes into the effects. Nonetheless, I will touch few ones that I do use frequently. I will also use white and black luminous cards to show how luminosity of the blend layer interact with this base layer. Now, this is how we start. The first category is normal category. The first category is the normal category. This includes normal and dissolve. Let me click on the blend mode panel here. From the drop down menu, the normal category is the first segment at the top here, which include the normal and dissolve. There is no special effects that take place when you select them until you start to adjust opacity and fill. Yeah, for the normal, when you begin to adjust the opacity, it will refill the layers below it without any interaction from the color or luminosity of the top layer. It will only start to refill the layer below it, and the same thing is the fill. And also the second blend mode in this category, also when you click on it, there is no effect that will show immediately until you start to decrease the opacity, and the layer below it will be refilled in a detailed form. The second category is darken blend mode. This blend mode comprises of darken, multiply, color bond, linear bond, and darker color. When you choose any of these blend mode in this category, generally the result darkens the image. Every light color on the blend layer will become invisible. The lighter area on the blend layer will be faded out, and the base layer underneath will be made visible through the lighter area of the blend layer, while the darker area remains the same, and any other area darker than white will add a darkening effect to the pixels below it. Let's see how it works with this luminosity card. On this layer, I have white here, 50% gray here, and 100% black here. So like I said earlier, when you select any of the blend mode in the darken category, the white area becomes invisible, but the dark area remains, and the other shades of black, because this is not total black and it's not totally white, they will still remain, but they will create a darkening effect on the base layer. So let's see how this will react. Let me choose darkening effect. Now, as you can see, the white area of the blend layer is gone, while the gray, 50% gray, still remain, but it creates a darkening effect on the base layer, while the 100% black area remains. So that's what it does. That's what every blend mode in this category does, but they have different level of effects they have on the layer as you select them. You can see when I move my mouse on darken, it has a different effect. When I move it on multiply, it has another different effect. Color bond, it has its own effect. Linear bond, it has its own effect, and darker color also has its own effect. But I will not start to explain what each one does and how it performs its effect, but I've told you the general thing that happens here is that the light color fades away and the dark color remains. Then the color range between white and black creates a darkening effect on the base layer. Now, onto the one I used mostly here is multiply. Multiply mode is what I used mostly in my design or while design flyers. So how does it apply to flyers? So mostly I make use of it while working with backgrounds. Number one, you can use multiply for mixing and amplification of backgrounds. Like this background now, I have one layer below here, the color is light, and in order for me to be able to increase contrast, I might want to darken this background. So what I will need to do is to duplicate the background, then click on the one at the top select the blend mode, then add multiply. With this, I've been able to darken or increase the darkness of the background. Another way is that I can mix two different pattern backgrounds to make the background more interesting. Now let me return this one back to normal and let me activate this layer 2. This another pattern background. If I want to make it interesting, I can add multiply blend mode on it now. So with this now, I've mixed this first layer with another layer. So with this, I've now mixed two backgrounds together, giving me an interesting background. So also, you can make emphasis on a section of your design. Instead of just adding a plain background like I have here, I've designed this section like Medillery free training. Then I want this free training to have a kind of emphasis, and I've drawn a rectangle to separate that section, and it has been filled with gradient. So I can apply a multiply blend mode to the background. So this makes this section to have a kind of blended relationship with the background. So this is another way I make use of multiply blend mode. You can also use multiply to enhance and control the application of shade of a specific color, especially when you are working on flat designs, e.g. corporate flyers, business cards, etc., where basic shapes and plain backgrounds are used. So this is what I mean. Let's say I'm trying to design a business card or a flyer where I don't really want to make use of pattern or abstract or futuristic background. I only want to make use of shapes. So like on this layer now, I've created different shapes. Like I have this shape, let me on all the layers now. So I can, as you can see now, all these are just the same colors. So I can vary the shades of color by applying multiply mode on the colors that are overlapping. Like this one here, this layer shape 5 copy is on top of shape 5, so I can apply blend mode to this shape 5. Now it has given me a shade of this color that I have. So the same thing can also happen to these other ones as well. So let me add to this one also. Another way you can still make use of multiply blend mode is when you have pure black vector on a white background, or other color vector on a white background, but they must be darkened down white or darker beyond 50% gray. So the white area can be removed using blend mode like I have here. Assuming I want to make use of this vector illustration in my design, and I've just copied it online. Instead of using lasso tool to start to trace this out, or instead of using magnetic mark tool to select and start creating, you can simply place it, then select the blending mode, multiply, voila, the white area will go. It can also be applied to this colorful text as well. It's just that the result might not come out as sharp as this one, because the part of the color on the background will be reflecting through these colors, because they are not 100% black. So some, because their shades is between black and 100% white, so it will just darken the area. So you can see now anything pure white is gone, and we cannot see the background through it. The second blend mode category is lighting mode, lighting blend mode. In this category, the result lightens the image. It is the direct opposite of the first category, darken blend mode. So in this case, the result lightens the image, black becomes invisible on the blend layer, while the white is retained. It comprises of lighting. You can see as I'm moving my mouse on it, you can see the effects, lighting, screen, color dodge, linear dodge, and lighter color. As I said earlier, each of these blend mode lightens the image. It fades away any traces of black in the blend layer. As you can see, that black is gone using this card. The black is gone. The mode I use most often here is the screen blend mode, and here are the instances for which I use it. Going forward from the last example I used, when I made an emphasis on this section of the Miss Little Flyer Medillery free training, I might want to add some lens flare. You can go online, search for lens flare. You can indicate the color when searching. I want a kind of light shining on the line that I've created on the edge of the shapes here. So I've placed the downloaded lens flare here. You can see most times when you go online to download this kind of image, it's usually on black background, but there are some paid one which the black background might have been removed from you, that only this light will be on in a PNG file. But because I just copied this one from online, the black color is still there. So how do I now get rid of this black color? Is by simply using go to the lighting blend mode category, then select screen. With this, the black is gone. As said earlier, in this category, it fades away every appearances of black, and it retains anything lighter than black. That's why we have this result. Black is gone and it retains the color that is visible and that is lighter than black. So this effect can be used to make any of your design shine and pop. You might have been seeing flyers having this kind of light, so that's how they come about it. Because when you look for this kind of light, you might not see the one that the background has been removed, so you can simply use screen blend mode to remove the black background. The next blend mode category is contrast blend mode. In this category, every blend mode in this category increases contrast. 50% gray is invisible on the blend layer. The dark pieces and the light pieces are retained, but every color close to 50% gray, either coming from the white region or from the dark region from here, fades away. 50% gray, anything from this center to here fades away, while the dark and the light area is retained. So this category is like a mixture of darkening and lighting category. As earlier discussed, in the darkening category retains the black and fades away the white. Lighting category retains white and fades away the black, but contrast category retains the black, retains the white, and fades away the 50% gray. So they create contrast by both darkening and lightening the colors of the base layer. So this is how the effect look like. So this is contrast layer. So let me move my mouse over overlay. You can see what overlay does. Everything on this 50% gray region retains the color of the base layer, but to my right here, the place become lightened because white is retained, and on my left hand side like this, the region is darkened. So that's how it will do for every pieces. Every dark piece will be darkened over the base layer, and every lighter piece will lighten the base layer. But every piece that fall between 50% gray will retain the color of the base layer. Now, for every of these effects that you choose here, they add their own special effects on your image. So the first one, which is the overlay. Overlay combines multiply in the darken blend mode and screen in the lighting blend mode. Where the base layer is light, whenever you apply overlay, where the base layer here is light, the top layer becomes lighter. Where the base layer is dark, the top becomes dark. You can see now. You can see what I'm saying. When you check here, this region, there is a boss there. Because that boss is white, or it has a kind of lighter color, and this roof here, this roof here. So since it's the base layer that is white, the white is passing through the dark region of the blend layer. So let's come to this side. We have a black car here. Because the black car is on the base layer, the black car passed through the white region of the blend layer freely. So that's how it works. So the base layer must shine through the blend layer, because this overlay calculates its blending based on the luminosity of the base layer. It is what the base layer is bringing that will give us the result we see through the dark and the light region on the blend layer. So every light area of the base layer must shine through the top layer. In multiply blend mode, it's supposed to darken out, but in this blend mode, it doesn't darken out, it shines through it. What this blend category does is that it increases contrast. So this effect in turns increase the contrast of the image. So area that is black becomes darker, and area that is light becomes lighter generally. So now let's go to the instances whereby I use this blend mode category. Now let's say I have this background I've been using, but looking at this background, it looks flattened. I can increase the contrast of this background by duplicating this same background. So this is the duplicate of it, then apply overlay. So by applying overlay, the darkened area of this background has allowed the lighter area of the same background below to shine through, and the lighter area of this background at the top has allowed the light area of the base layer to also shine through at the top. So this has increased the contrast. You can see that the shades here can now be seen very clearly, and the edges of the shape that makes the background can be seen very clearly. Now this also can be applied to two different backgrounds for you to increase the contrast of your background if the background seems too flat for the kind of design you are doing. Now proceeding further is using this other background. You can also use another one here, which is add light. It's also doing the same thing related to overlay. It's just that overlay lightens more than add light. Add light adds some other algorithm it uses to calculate how the base layer shines through the blend layer, which in turn increases the contrast of the final result. So soft light in this category does different things. It balances every of the shades area. It makes the contrast balance. It will not be too dark or too light. It performs its own function in a subtle manner. Let me do that with this first one, which is overlay. Let me apply soft light. You can see now, though it also increases the contrast, but not as sharp as overlay and add light. The next blend mode category is comparative blend mode. In this category, mathematical calculations are performed on the RGB values of each layer, that is the blend layer and the base layer, and the result is the final output of the respected blend mode chosen. Like the value of the RGB color composition of the layers at the top is being calculated mathematically with the RGB values of the color composition of the base layer to give the result. Like, let me choose this. On this luminous card, the RGB value of this white color can be known by going to the color mode system. Let me double click here to the color picker. The color picker dialog box is displayed. Let me click on this place. So this is the RGB value of this white area, which is 255 RGB. Now the RGB value of this dark area is 0, and the RGB value of this 50% region is 128, and that's how it is. And for other layers as well, they also have their RGB value. Now if I choose any of this blend mode in this category, difference is trying to make some calculation based on the RGB value on the top layer and the RGB value on the base layer. That's how it's giving me a kind of negative film result, like you are looking at a negative film. That's why some of this area is bringing out that result. So this can be because there is a lot of color information going on here. You might not really understand what is going on. So let me go and use a simple plain color to explain this first one so that you get the understanding. Here I have this green layer, and this, let me put on another layer. Yes, this another layer of the same color. So definitely both of them should have the same RGB value. So let me click here. So this is the RGB value of this 916034. Now the same thing with this one. Now let me apply difference. Yes, different blend mode on the top layer. Now this one has turned to black. So what it means is that it has subtracted the base layer from the blend layer. Now let's see what it does. Let me call out the color picker again. So this one, picking this one is 9 160 34. This one also is the same thing, but now this area where they overlap, when I click on it, it becomes 0. So it means that this RGB value of this one minus RGB value of this give us 0. That's what happens. So even if you have multi-color layers on top another, the system will calculate RGB value of each color that are overlapping and give you the result. So let me open another shape that has another RGB value. This is yellow. So when we call out the color picker again, color picker dialog box again, this is the RGB value of this one 255, and this RGB value of this one 9 160 34. So now let me apply this. Now you can see that they overlapped around this region also, so I can apply the difference blend mode on it. Now where they overlap, it gives me another color. So it means that it has subtracted the value of this one from this one. So let's confirm that again. Call this color picker up again. So this is the RGB value of the base layer, which is 9 160 34. This is the RGB value of the blend layer, which is 255 255 0. Now coming to this place, so this one, so it means that this one is 255 here before 255 here. So it means that 9 minus 255 give us 246 246. Then 9 minus 160 minus 255 give us 95. Then 34 minus 20 give us 34. So that's how it works. So you can really make use of this one when you are working with basic shapes, working with layers with many colors might not really give you a desired result. So you might not really use this category. So you don't really need to bother yourself about it. And if you want to play with it for your design, for coming up with pattern design, you can still use them. But the last blend mode on this list is component blend mode. This category comprises of different components of color, which are hue, saturation, color, and luminosity. In this group, the color of the top layer is applied to the base layer. Most times, the effect of this blend mode group can be best understood when you have a plain color as a blend layer. This blend mode category is best used when you have a particular pattern for background, but the color that is available on that pattern is not part of the scheme you are using. You can apply any of these blend mode to adjust the color or change the color of the background. Now let's see what it will do this blend mode category will do with this luminous layer that we've been using. You can see that this luminous layer is completely gray. There is no element of color here. There is no hue here at all. Everything is just black and white. So if I apply this category, any of this category here, the hue changes everything, takes every color on the top layer, which is the blend layer, and applies straight on top of the base layer. It changes everything to gray. Same thing will happen to color here, same thing will happen to saturation. Let's say I have this pattern. The pattern has purple and blue color, but I decide I chose to use this same pattern for a one color background. So how do I go about it? And the color I want to use is green. So I can simply draw a green shape on the entire background, then change my luminosity or change my blend mode to hue. With that, I've changed the entire color of this base layer to green. So what hue does is that is referring to the exact color in an image. It now changes the entire color. It now changes the entire color it has found in this image to the color of the blend layer. If it doesn't find any color here, it won't change it at all. Black and white are not color. You can see that we can still see the dots of white showing forth because there are dots of white on the base layer. So the dot of white will not be affected. Anywhere there is white on the base layer or where there is total black on the base layer, the hue will not touch it. Now let's go further and use another example. Let's see this flower now is having red flower here, and we have the other area of it to be gray. So I can simply change this section that is pink, this section of the flower that is pink, to another color without affecting this by simply using hue. Because this is gray, there is no color component on it. So let me make a duplicate of this shape, then move it on top with the same hue being selected. You can see now only where color component is found is where the blend mode affects. So other area where we just have white, black and gray, the color will not affect it. But if we decide to change the entire color of this image, so it means that we are going to be choosing color blend mode instead of hue. That's the difference. So color affects the entire image. Color affects the entire pixel on the base layer, while hue only affects the area that adds a component of color. Alright guys, this is where I would like to stop for today. Thanks so much for your attention. I hope you enjoyed this session a little bit. Hope to see you next time. Thank you very much. So before we go, let's close with this.